Friends, welcome to episode 12 of Vibe with Venerables. 1 hour of live Dharma and dialogue where you get to talk directly to a respected Venerable. I'm Ming, co-founder of Buddhism-dot.net and your host. And today we continue our Summer of Love with the monastics from Sarvasti Abbey. Now, today's episode may surprise some of you because our Venerable today, Venerable Thubten Gyatso, is a male monk. So some people think that Sarvasti Abbey only has female nuns, but no, they are an equal opportunity abbey. And it's true, I did joke last week that Venerable Gyatso was our DEI hire, but in my defense, DEI here stands for diligent, empathetic, and intelligent, which
Oh,
describes the Venerable. So there you are.
you're very kind to me. Thank you.
Thank you. So Venerable Gyatso grew up near the white sand beaches of Florida. He first encountered Buddhism in 2005, the same way that Venerable Damcho did, which was by reading The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama. Venerable Gyatso then embarked on a path of deepening his practice. He volunteered in Berkeley and then in India. And then he went for a Goenka Vipassana retreat in Lumbini, and then it showed him the calm joy and clarity of a focused mind. And that had a huge impact on him. And then eventually he found his way to Sarvasti Abbey and ordained in May of 2023. So today, Venerable Gyatso is here to continue talking about love. And his exact topic may be shocking to some people. He will be talking about the idea that we can see all sentient beings as being kind to us. So shocking. So stay tuned to be shocked.
Yeah, make sure you're sitting down.
That's right. So Venerable will be speaking for roughly 30 minutes and then answering your questions live. And as a reminder, this session will be recorded and uploaded onto YouTube later. And if you're comfortable doing so, we'd like to invite you to turn your camera on so that Venerable can see your lovely faces on the screen in front of him. And with that, Venerable Gyatso, please lead us in a prayer and a short meditation.
Sure. Thank you, Ming. So let's start by just settling our body and mind into this space, preparing to listen. We can begin by watching the breath, the rise and fall of our chest. And we can leave behind what we did before and what we're going to do after this. And just focus right now on our breath alone in the present moment. Just settle our mind and our body down. And now take a moment to imagine all the incredible qualities you'd like to develop of infinite love and compassion, equanimity, wisdom. Imagine what it would actually feel like to be and have those qualities, actualized to their highest potential. See if you can feel that right now. Imagine all those qualities manifesting in a visualization of Shakyamuni Buddha in the space in front of you. Or if you prefer, you can imagine a ball of light symbolizing all these qualities. And recognizing our potential to develop these qualities and to one day attain them to their highest potential. We'll begin by going for refuge. I believe it's in the chat box. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create, by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create, by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create, by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. And next
Sadhu.
we can cultivate the four immeasurables next, which will also be in the chat box. And imagine directing the four immeasurables, love, compassion, joy, and equanimity, to a specific person or a group of people. And really get a feeling deeply for each of the immeasurables. At the end, we'll take a couple moments just to reflect and really feel them deeply. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. Before engaging in any activity, it's good to set a motivation for why you're actually doing it. So now we have this great opportunity to come together, to think about love, our deep desire to cultivate this quality and for it to spread to all sentient beings. We can really delve deeply into the causes and conditions for love to arise, how we can increase it, and really looking at the kindness of all sentient beings, not just our friends, our family, but strangers, even people who harm us, each and every sentient being, extremely kind. So let's take advantage of this opportunity and pay attention and use this to fuel our practice so that we can be most benefit to all sentient beings and eventually attain our highest potential.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. My parents are here, so I've got to be on my best behavior. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. So glad to see everyone here. Um, I'm talking about the kindness of others. And like Ming said, this could be shocking to think of how so many infinite, countless beings could be so incredibly kind to us. But it's true. And as we look deeper and deeper into the kindness of others, then these deep feelings of wanting to repay their kindness and wanting love to grow and for them to be happy in return, all these feelings can be cultivated the more and more that we look at the kindness of others. So it's really an extremely beneficial practice. So as we've seen from some of the other monastics in this series, love is a dependent arising. It doesn't just arise causelessly out of nowhere, but it comes about through causes and conditions. And so, like some of the other monastics were saying, there's things we could think about that help us develop our love. Thinking about the difference between love and attachment, making sure we don't move into attachment and move more into love. And then equanimity. And there's so many different causes and conditions, but I'm going to focus on the kindness of others today. So the Buddha taught two main ways that sentient beings are kind to us. And the first is right now, ensuring our survival and our happiness. And the second is in our past lives when sentient beings were our mothers. So right now I'll focus on just right now in everyday life, how extremely kind sentient beings have been to us. Our very survival depends on countless sentient beings. Ming, you didn't make the house that you're in right now. You didn't grow your own food or
There'll be
filter your own
no
water.
and no and
No,
no.
no, no. Right. Someone else did that for you, right?
There'll be yes.
Yeah, okay. I can see Ming building a house. He's very skillful. But yeah, other people built our houses for us. They grew our food. They transported the food to shops, and then someone in the shop sold it to us. And someone owned that shop so that he could hire people to sell us the food. And then somehow it got to our house, probably in a car that we also didn't create the car. We didn't create the gas that goes in the car. All these people had to work hard so that we could get our food and housing and water and all these essentials just so we could survive. So maybe they didn't think specifically, I'm going to make this food for Ming, but it is a fact that our survival totally depends on these people. And so we can think of how kind it is that they're working so hard and just so we can be happy and have the things we need to survive. So I don't think we would last very long if we were just out in the woods naked without any clothes. I don't know, I wouldn't last long. But luckily, there are people around who are working so hard ensuring our survival. And they can help us because they had teachers and parents and people supporting them. And those teachers and parents and other people had other people supporting them. So you can see how quickly this expands exponentially And it really includes all sentient beings. It's really incredible when you start to think about it. And then our happiness is really dependent on countless sentient beings. I'm not sure how happy we would be if we were just all alone in the woods. But, we hang out together, we go to movies together, we go to dinner, and we have partners and friends, and our happiness depends on them. We we um we can play games and laugh together. So if we were all alone, it might be fun for a little while. It's nice to go on a retreat and be alone for a little bit, but after a while we go stir crazy and we really want someone to be around. Even in the forest, you're not really alone, are you? There's deer and birds and insects. Maybe they'll keep you company. But really, think about how your happiness is so dependent on other sentient beings. It's really amazing. Your joy, your compassion, it grows because of sentient beings. It doesn't just arise causelessly out of nowhere. So we can really think about how extremely kind they are and how we would like to repay this kindness. And then that's when the love emerges. We want to repay this kindness. We want people to be happy in return. So it's easy to see how thinking about the kindness of others leads to increasing our love for them, wanting them to be happy. So this is an essential practice. So the second way we think about the kindness of others is as our mothers in our past life. We can think about our mothers in this life. And in Buddhism, we believe in rebirth and past lives. The Buddha spoke extensively about past lives. So it's easy to see that in our past lives, we probably had mothers, and they were probably extremely kind to us, just like our mothers are right now. So when you start to really delve into this topic and really think deeply about the kindness of our mothers, it's really incredible. We can easily take it for granted and just think they're supposed to do these things for us. They're supposed to raise us and give us money and food and take us to different soccer games and whatnot. But taking things for granted doesn't really lead to happiness. So it's nice to really think deeply about the incredible kindness of our mothers of this life. Or even if your mother wasn't kind, maybe you have another caregiver who was extremely kind to you. So it's good to think about that too. So even if we go back to when we were in the womb, think about the mother's kindness of carrying us around and how heavy we were in their womb, and there was back pain and maybe headaches, and it just seems really uncomfortable, doesn't it? I can't speak from experience, but from movies and from what I've heard, it sounds like it's not a very pleasant experience. I guess there's a lot of emotional turmoil and worry for sure. You don't know how your baby is doing in the womb. Is it healthy? Is it doing okay? Is it going to have all its faculties and all its limbs? Is it going to be happy? It sounds like a very stressful time for a mother to be having this child in her womb for 9 months, such a long time. But she does it joyfully with such incredible kindness and care, just taking care of us before we're even born for 9 months. It's really incredible when we start thinking about it. And then there's the process of childbirth, which also doesn't seem that pleasant. Seems very painful and long and arduous. But she goes through it because of her incredible kindness and love for us. She wants us to be happy. She wants us to come out into the world. I always imagine the look that a mother has when she first sees her child. It must be incredible. And then we're babies, and she gives us milk and wakes up in the middle of the night and takes care of us, and we're crying, and she'll do anything just to make us happy. And this kindness just goes on and on and on. It's really astounding to think about. When we're children, they drive us around to all kinds of different recitals and piano and flute and soccer, making sure we get an education, making sure we know how to be kind to others and play well with others so we can fit in society. Um, Making sure we're happy, doing whatever it takes to ensure our happiness over and over and over again, day after day for years. It's really astounding. When I start to think about it, you could just do hours and hours and days and years contemplating the incredible kindness of your mother or some other caregiver. And even when we become adults, it doesn't really stop there because our parents are still there for us when we have problems, when we need to buy our first car and get our first house. They're probably going to help us out. They're going to be there and support us and give us advice when we're having relationship problems, when we want to ordain and they think we're crazy, but they go along with it anyways. And it's incredibly kind of them. So I found a lot of joy in considering the kindness of my mother, and then realizing that in past lives, infinite, countless past lives, I've had mothers that did the exact same thing. And all of you have been my mothers in past lives. And we just changed places. I've been your mother, you've been my mother, lifetime after lifetime, on and on it goes. So I like this quote. I'm reading from Venerable Gyatso Bodhicitta. This is a great book. He has a whole section on recalling the kindness of beings. And there's this one quote I like from a letter to a friend by Nagarjuna. Already each of us has drunk more milk than could be contained in the four great oceans. And if we continue to pursue the ways of ordinary beings, we as cyclic beings must help ourselves to even more. So as long as we're stuck in samsara, going around and around and around, we're going to continue having mothers taking care of us. And like he says, the milk we've drunk could be enough to fill an entire ocean. Just think of the countless eons going back through countless time, all the mothers we've had over and over and over again, and their incredible kindness. So this wish to repay their kindness just comes up automatically. And the deeper we go into this meditation, the deeper this feeling of love and wanting to repay the kindness, it wells up and it becomes stronger and stronger. And this incredible feeling of love and happiness and joy can really permeate our entire lives. Okay, so then there's the kindness of our enemies. So I hope everyone's sitting down. This might be really shocking for some people. But actually, you can't really practice patience with your friends, can you? I mean, sometimes they're annoying, but for the most part, they're your friends because they like hanging out with you. They're nice to you. They kind of agree with you and go along with what you want, right? This is why we have friends. If they didn't they didn't go along with what we wanted to do and weren't kind to us, we would put them in the enemy category. So developing our patience with our friends is pretty limited. Luckily, we do have some challenging people in our lives. We have some difficult people, even Ming, I'm sure, people that we find it hard to be around. No? Oh, Ming is so lucky. Wow.
I do, I do. Yes.
No, luckily, I'm sure everyone has some difficult people in their lives. It could be a big difficulty or even just a small annoyance, because the definition of anger is it's pretty vast in the Buddhist system. It includes just tiny annoyances, wanting to avoid someone, not wanting to be around someone, all the way up to, rage and extreme anger. So it really includes a whole wide array. And we have these enemies. Okay, enemy might be a strong word, but challenging people, right? And we have them in our lives, and we get to develop patience because they're in our lives, because they challenge us and they're difficult and they don't go along with what we want to do. So luckily our patience can develop more and more. And this is one of the paramitas, and it's necessary to develop on the path. So it's absolutely crucial that we develop our patience not just leave it at a minimal level, but every day we should be increasing our patience more and more and more until we become Buddhas. We can totally perfect our patience so nothing makes us angry or even annoyed in the smallest amount. So again, enemies, challenging people are absolutely necessary. We need them in our lives. We might want to push them away, not be around them, but actually, when we do open up and feel more comfortable being around challenging people, we can start with, some who are a little bit challenging and then, move up to more and more challenging people. And slowly this patience can develop and grow more and more and more. And patience is so crucial. So it's necessary for us to develop this. And then our love and our compassion will grow solely based on interacting with challenging people. We want them to be happy. They wouldn't be challenging and difficult if they weren't suffering, if they didn't have some sort of pain or problem or a difficult childhood. So we can see how they are suffering, and it doesn't make any sense to attack them back. But instead, we can wish for them to be happy, wish for them to decrease their suffering so that they don't annoy us so much, maybe. But really, annoyance and anger is coming from here, right? It's not the external thing that is annoying, making us angry. Because if that thing was inherently annoying, then everyone would find it annoying, right? But that's not true. I'm sure their parents find them amazing and they love them dearly. And some people love Tom Cruise and some people don't like Tom Cruise. So he's not inherently lovable or annoying. It's all coming from us, right? From our mind. So we can develop these good qualities and change the way we view people. And this is really beneficial. It's been beneficial in my life. I've had lots of challenging people and I want to run away. That's been my MO for my entire life. But now I'm learning the benefits of actually being around them and cultivating these good qualities and seeing that they're not actually bad people and they don't have to be my enemies. I can move them into the friends category by getting to know them and being patient with them and being loving and compassionate. And then my mind totally changes. And then everyone becomes my friend because I'm seeing them in a completely different way. Also, challenging people can be really good for our renunciation, for our determination to be free from samsara, because a lot of the challenges we have come from other people, right? So these unpleasant feelings we have when we encounter others sometimes can really make us wish that we were not in samsara anymore, that we could totally end this revolving door of cyclic existence and get out and finally get to nirvana. So this can be really good for our practice, right? And also we can deepen our refuge and see how the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the Buddha's teachings especially, are so practical and useful and helpful for helping us deal with all of these issues. Yeah, there was another book, Transforming Problems into Happiness, Lama Zopa Rinpoche. This is another classic book. Every sentence is just a gem. But there's a good quote here from the thought training teachings. There's a whole genre in the Tibetan texts about training our mind. So it says, "It is not good to be wealthy. It is better to be poor. If you are poor and experience hardships, you can accomplish the Buddha Dharma. The beggar's body is the aim of the Dharma." So if someone steals from us, robs from us, instead of being angry, we can really thank them for showing us our attachment. Maybe we're attached to money and we didn't know how attached we were until that person robbed from us and made us poor. And then we can deal with the anger and the frustration and transform it into love and compassion. So there can be a lot of benefits from even our enemies when we really think about it and start meditating on it deeply. So I'd recommend if you are going to do this, start off with not a huge enemy, just someone that kind of annoys you and get used to it and practice it. And then as you develop, you can move on to maybe more and more annoying people and slowly widen your circle of friends and include every sentient being in your circle of people that you love and want to be happy. So maybe that's good for now. You guys are probably tired of hearing from me.
Thank, thank you, Venerable. Yes,
You're
I
welcome.
agree with you. Patience is important. I wish I had patience right now, right now.
Oh, sorry.
I'm kidding. So it's now time for a Q&A. If you have any questions for Venerable Gyatso, please use the hand raising function in Zoom, and then I will identify you and ask you to unmute yourself. And Venerable, given that your parents are here, I'm half expecting them to ask the question, are you coming back for Christmas? Why are you not coming back for Christmas? What's wrong with
Yeah.
your kindness?
You never call. Why didn't you return my
That's right.
email?
That's right. Oh, question, why don't you ever call?
Right, right. Maybe she's embarrassed because I've been talking about the kindness of my
uh,
mom for so long.
uh, uh,
Yeah.
okay. Yes. Yeah. So feel free to raise your hands anytime for questions. By the way, Venerable, you asked whether I made my car. Well, I didn't make my car, but I made my own karma. Almost as good.
Oh, very nice. Hopefully the good kind.
Yeah, I try.
Very good. Okay.
Mm, mm. So
You can make those
while
tiny
wait,
cars, you know?
that's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to like if I ever buy a small car, oh,
Uh,
I'm going to call it Hinayana. So oh, by the way, I donated money to a group that is not a Mahayana group, and then because they need a truck, right,
uh,
to haul stuff, and I
oh,
insisted that they call the car Mahayana.
and they refuse.
But they did. So
Awesome.
no. Okay. So Venerable, while waiting for a question, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Which is the thing about wishing well for our enemies, people we don't like. It sounds difficult, and so I mean, it's probably difficult for me. I'm probably it's easy for you. I mean, such a good person like you. So yes, what maybe you can talk a bit about your own experience and what we can learn from it.
Yeah, it's incredible. People that I never thought I would be friends with over time. You know, we live in a community. There's 22 of us, and we live very closely together in our monastery. So we bump against each other day by day by day. And these little things can grow if we don't really deal with them. So it's really essential that we work with them daily so they don't, like a small fire can grow into a huge thing. So I really
Mm,
have to catch it while it's small, where it's workable. And I can sit on my cushion and I can imagine all the ways they've been kind to me in this life and past lives. And it's really incredible the changes that happen. Even if I'm not necessarily interacting with them, or apologizing to them. We don't have to have a big discussion, just by practicing and developing these good qualities and really opening my heart to them. And I found over time, just naturally, my heart opens and my love for them and my compassion for them, seeing how they're suffering, it really develops. And so I think it's really incredible that it doesn't have to be this big, huge thing. It can be just sitting on the cushion every single day and just working and doing the practice. And slowly your mind transforms. It's not a huge leap, but it does happen. And then incredibly, people I found challenging weeks before, we can be friends and we can just hang out. It seems like a miracle. Like I never thought I could hang out with these people, but I can. And when
uh,
you're in a monastery, you don't get to choose who you live with. People just show up and you know, you got to choose your family, didn't you? I mean,
not on most lifetimes, no.
oh yeah, okay. You should come to the monastery. This is good for your practice. practicing
Okay.
patience.
Okay. Now, if I go, it's good for your practice.
That's
You
that's
have to practice patience with me.
yeah, with your corny jokes.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Okay. We have a question from Lynn.
Hi, actually, the question is from Brad, but so you talk about, I mean, it's almost like a scripture as far as loving your enemies and thinking about enemies or people that we have difficulties with and opening our hearts to them and opening our hearts because of the lessons that they can teach us. Does detachment, because when I think of anger, I think of detachment, detaching myself from that anger through meditation or thinking about how the seeds of that anger arise in me. Does
Mhm.
detachment play a role at all, or I mean, maybe it's not an either or, but where does the triangle of detachment and love and the lessons that our enemies teach us, does detachment fit in there?
Okay, so you're talking about detaching yourself from your anger and moving closer and closer towards love and compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're related. Once we notice that the anger has arisen, we might not even be aware and mindful that we are angry at this person. We might just avoid them naturally, or we might just get used to the frustration, and it might not even be something we're cognizant of. So once we're mindful and pay attention to these uncomfortable, unpleasant feelings and noticing that we're avoiding certain people, then, like you said, we can notice it, we can detach from that anger and transform it into something more positive. So noticing the disadvantages of anger, frustration, ignoring people, that's a good first step. It's really not helping us at all, is it? It's really going to make our mind really messed up, and we'll just be in a miserable place over and over again. But if we can transform our mind day by day by day, moving closer towards love, seeing the kindness of our enemies and other people who harm us, then it slowly arises. And like I was saying before, it really fills our life with something more meaningful and precious that we want to really cultivate. And when we can see how it is possible and we see how our practice is working, then that gives us a lot of motivation and incentive to continue doing it and working on this person and this person and this person. And then it just grows more and more.
I can, as you talk through that, I can see my failures in the past. My work sangha from 22 years in a large corporate office. I
Mhm.
have personality and the compassion where I get along with a lot of individuals and I can see the oneness that we share and the similarities. There
Mhm.
has been at least one or two times in my life where I haven't been able to love someone into kindness, where the conflict remained. And I can see within a sangha, such as a corporate office, there's a lot of talking that goes on, and usually the person who has the difficult personality is having trouble fitting in with everybody pretty much. They might have their
Mhm.
little tribe that they're with that they get along with, but I can see my failures. Um, and I won't carry that guilt with me for not being able to overcome that because the person that's in my mind right now was very difficult. I would have loved to have developed a more kind and gentle relationship where we could see each other's oneness, but
Mhm.
see that failure in the past, and it's a journey. So I'll
Yeah,
take.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you're calling a failure, we could see it as like an opportunity. You notice that there was something missing there, and it seems like you've learned from that experience, and maybe you took something from that that was useful for you in the future to work on. And
Yeah.
you're doing your practice, you're developing your love and compassion. And so from your side, you're doing what you can. And from their side, you know, it may work, it may not. They might still be angry, and there's not much you can do about that. But at least you know that you tried from your side, right?
Yeah. And the journey, the spiritual journey that I've been on, I think has taught me lessons since that time. I've been retired for a number of years, and yeah, this is helping a lot. So
Nice. Yeah, I like to think of it as like a journey, an adventure. Like getting to know our mind and transform our mind is really, I think it's really exciting. Like I thought adventure, most of my life I was traveling around the world and going to different places and beaches and mountains. I thought that was adventure. But really, the true adventure I found right now that's way more exciting is really looking at my mind and how bonkers it is. You too? Yeah, going inside. Yeah, exactly. Because we're so externally focused, aren't we? But really, there's so much we can miss what's going on inside, and there's so much going on there, and it's really exciting to develop these qualities and to move in a positive direction. So it's good that we can recognize this and start to cultivate this and transform our mind.
Thank you. Okay. We have the question on chat. The question is, let's see, why don't you mention fathers?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Um, At the Abbey, we do BBCs, which are short talks before we have lunch. And I've given 3 BBCs about the kindness of our fathers.
What does BBC stand for?
Bodhisattva Breakfast Corner. It used
Uh-huh.
to be a short talk before breakfast, but then they moved it to lunch. So
Okay.
yeah, so you can find those on the Abbey YouTube.
Mm.
And yeah, it's true. Fathers are also extremely kind to us. But I think human beings have this special connection with our mothers. They carry us in the womb, they give us their milk, they care for us and look after us so closely. So in the Buddhist text, they speak a lot about the incredible kindness of our mothers because it's really easy to see how incredibly deep it is and the care and attention that mothers put into taking care of their children. Yeah, good question.
I think the Buddha addressed it in the Nikayas as well. The Buddha said that the our parents have given us so much kindness that if we put a father on one shoulder and a mother on one shoulder for 100 years, and just carry them down, and they poo and poop on our body. Yeah, it's a
Oh
very
yeah.
graphic analogy. And even that, for 100 years, that's still not enough to repay the kindness of your parents.
Whoa,
Yeah, yeah,
nice.
and the Buddha explicitly said that both your father and your mother. So there's
Right.
no discrimination. Yeah, it's an equal opportunity,
Yeah.
like your Abby.
Good, good. Yeah, if you find that sutra, send it to me. I'd like to read that.
Okay, so, yeah, I'll do that.
Good, good. So
Mm,
that's another meditation. You can sit down and really delve into the incredible kindness of your father
mm,
and your siblings and your grandparents and really go into the nitty-gritty details about all the kindness. Your father went to work and your father held you when you were crying and took you to soccer games also and cheered you on and taught you lessons. And when you were poor, you asked your dad for money and he he hooked you up. So yeah, incredibly kind.
mm. So
And when
Venerable,
we do
this
that
question.
meditation, again, the
Mm,
those feelings of love and wanting to repay the kindness,
mm,
they grow and grow.
mm. So Venerable, this question may be a bit personal, and so you don't have to answer it. I was wondering whether you have an example of a specific person or a specific situation where you had to apply this technique of a difficult situation, a difficult person, where you apply this technique that we can learn from.
Right. Um, yeah, there was someone who um, was really kind of nitpicky and they like things in a very certain way. And I'm kind of like, just do it however. And so for a long time, years, we were butting heads about how things should be done.
Or that's after you became a monastic?
Yeah.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I still hold tight to these ideas that I'm right and other people are wrong. Even when you go into a monastery and change your clothes and shave your head, you still bring your mind with you, and our minds are bonkers until we can really calm them down. So I really had to work with my mind and accepting this person for who they were and seeing them as kind to me and very loving. So in the evening, I pick one person from my community or one person that I know, friend or family, and I really focus on how they've been kind to me that day. And when I start thinking about it, it really expands. So I can think about how maybe they did the dishes for me, or they vacuumed and cleaned, and maybe they cooked that day. Maybe they supported me. So I can go deeper and deeper, and it can be really expansive thinking about the incredible kindness of that person on that day. So I do that in the evening, and then when I go to bed, then I don't know, it just gives me a really nice feeling of connectedness with other people. And it really opens my heart to other people and accepting them.
I see. So seeing beyond the conflict, but seeing like other things they are doing, like washing your dishes and so on, and then just
Exactly.
contemplate on,
Yeah, yeah.
and and
We hyper focus on the negative things, right? On the
yes,
harm that people have done to us.
yeah,
But those
yes,
they're so tiny in
yeah,
comparison to the kindness that they've shown us. It's
yes,
like if there was a tiny blemish on this wall behind me, we would probably focus on this tiny blemish and ignore how the rest of the wall is
mm-hmm,
pristine. But I
mm-hmm,
think we have that, is it called like a negative bias where
yes,
we're focused on negative things and we can
mm,
recognize those things in other people and in
mm,
ourselves too. We might be really harsh and critical of ourselves without giving ourselves credit for all the incredible kindnesses we've done to other people and to ourselves. So I think it's really worthwhile to sit down and delve into the kindness, the love, compassion of other people, how they support us and care for us.
mm. And
And
in
I
this
also
case,
do, go
sorry,
ahead.
in the case of this difficult person, how long did it take you to go from like parting head to like now we're friends and we love each other?
Yeah, really, it was years, honestly.
Oh,
Just working day by day by day.
amazing! And you just kept working at it.
Just kept working on it day by day by day.
Wow.
And there were these tiny shifts and they added up and eventually something happened and I could just see them and be close to them and be kind to them. And when I was kind, then they felt they could be vulnerable and kind to me in return. So it really felt like there was this heart connection between the two of us. So yeah, I think it was really worth it. All this work I did, it paid off in the end. And it continues still. I mean, it's not like we don't have disagreements. We don't butt heads still, but
Mhm.
we can do that and have disagreements and still see the kindness of each other's and still have an open heart towards each other.
Wow. It's
But also, I
fascinating.
do prison work, and
Hmm.
so we
Hmm.
send letters to inmates, incarcerated individuals, and we go to prisons and lead meditation groups and give talks.
Hmm.
And in our society, we've kind of locked these people away and thrown away the key and ignored them and kind of given this label that they're just bad people. But when I go in, I can just see them as normal people, just like me, and I can open my heart to them and just converse with them and see how they've had really difficult childhoods and difficult lives, and they just want to be happy and free of suffering, just like me. So we can connect on this level of equanimity, sharing these same concerns.
Wow. So when you did a prison work, were you aware of why this person was in prison, or did you just go in not knowing?
No, no, I never ask. Um, but
Mm,
sometimes they'll share with us. And
mm, mm,
so I try not to focus on that, but just seeing them as another sentient
mm,
being, just like me, struggling.
mm.
I've broken the law. I'm sure everyone here has broken the law at some point. We're not
Speaks for
not all
yourself, brother.
perfect. Yeah, Ming is perfect, but the rest of us maybe not. So I could have easily ended my self in jail, gotten myself in jail, but somehow I didn't. And these people did.
Mm,
So yeah,
mm,
and when you hear their stories about, especially their childhoods and the way they were raised, it's easy to open your heart to their experience and their suffering and
mm,
why they ended up in prison.
mm.
That's been my experience.
All right. So Roshi Joan did prison work, and she was on this show a couple of weeks ago. And
Oh,
in her case, she dealt with people on death row, right? Like the worst of the criminals,
hmm.
so to speak. And she goes in, she read their files, she knows exactly what they did,
Ah,
and she's able to engage with them at that level. And I
oh,
found that like fascinating.
okay.
Right. I mean, if you don't know, you walk in, it's one thing. You know this guy murdered so and so. Right. He did this. And you still engage the person. The,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there's a certain power to that.
Yeah.
Mm,
I'll have to watch that episode.
mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
when you're just engaging them on a human level, you
Mm-hmm.
might not even see them as a murderer or whatever label you want to place on them. You can just
Mm-hmm.
open your heart and connect with them.
Mm,
Just seeing them
right.
as another person just like you that wants to be happy and free of suffering.
Mm-hmm. Mm,
Mm. But Venerable Chodron, our teacher at the Abbey, she also does prison work. And
mm-hmm.
it started off with just one letter, and then somehow it just grew and grew. And now we
Mm,
have a database of close to 1,100 people that we write and we send newsletters to. So it's been
mm,
really powerful. We send
mm,
books and yeah, malas, lots of
mm,
different things to them. Yeah.
mm,
And to see the impact it has on their life, for them to experience the kindness of other sentient beings
mm,
is really powerful for them. Maybe they've had a lot of
mm,
harshness in their life, a lot of anger
mm,
directed towards them.
mm,
So just to have someone open their heart and be loving and kind to them, that can be so powerful for their life, really transformative. And since we're all
mm.
interconnected, that affects their families and affects their communities, and then it affects the world. So like a ripple effect in the ocean, it makes a huge impact.
Wow. So Venerable, I'm aware that you are one of the people who I think are you in charge? One person people in charge of the prison outreach work in the Sylvester Abbey.
Right, there's 5 of us working.
Mm. So do you visit them often in person?
Once a week we go.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's nice. And how many people do you talk to at every time?
It depends. Sometimes, there's lots of problems, and you never really know when you go into prison what's going to happen. There could be
Mm,
a lockdown, there could be, something happening, a fight, and then you can't
mm,
get in, or you get
mm,
in, and then there's a problem getting out, or your class might be just canceled right in the middle. So there's a lot of uncertainty. You never know what's going to happen. But
oh,
sometimes we have, 5 people or I don't know, 15 or 16 people. But there's a dedicated group that's really into the Buddhist teachings, and they're really gaining a lot from it. So I
mm,
think they
mm,
see how it's benefiting their life. They're cultivating good
mm,
qualities. They're putting
mm.
down some of their negative, harmful qualities and transforming their minds and their lives and having better interactions with officers and other people they're interacting
Wow,
with. So I think, again, that encourages them to keep on practicing, keep on cultivating
wow.
qualities more and more.
So it is a change that is perceptible to themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. And does that affect people around them? Does the people around them say, so I want to be like that as well?
Yeah,
Do you
exactly.
notice that happen? You notice that happening?
Yeah, they say, "Oh,
Awesome.
you're so calm now. You're so peaceful.
Wow.
What is going on? What are you
Oh,
doing?"
oh, that's awesome. And so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
also teach them meditation.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Similar like the meditation and the motivation I did at the beginning.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just like that.
Wow.
So we teach especially the importance of having a daily practice and just
Mm,
keeping at it day after day after day. So not skipping days. It's
Mm-hmm.
better just to keep doing it day after day after day instead of just doing like one day doing 3 hours, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's that consistency. You keep that flow going. It's really important.
So Venerable, do you have any advice for like normal lay people ask? I mean, you are a monastery, you have certain like schedule a day, so it's in
Mhm.
a sense it's easier to have practice because you also have peer pressure if you don't
Yeah,
go.
yeah. If I don't go, someone will come wake me
Yes,
up
right. Venerable
and
Choni will
protect
come
me.
with a stick or something, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that your
So
your partner? Your partner will
me,
make sure you meditate every day.
that's right. Yes. So how do we do this for lay people? What is your advice for us?
Yeah, hopefully, if you have time in the morning, you can cultivate these good qualities and then carry it out throughout the day. And then if you do it in the evening, that's such a nice way to go to bed to end your day. So it's
Mm,
like bookends, right?
mm,
And then you carry it forward into your sleep. You sleep very restfully, you feel good, you wake up rested, ready to start your day. And
mm.
then you can do your meditation, your practice in the morning again.
Right.
And there was a moment in my life where I realized I'm very slow, but I realized that it's not just the stuff on the cushion. Like my practice doesn't stay on the cushion when I'm meditating. I should be
Mm,
carrying it through the rest of the day. So once I realized that, it totally transformed my whole practice. So when you're encountering people you work with, your family, your friends, you
mm,
bring up your meditation topic and you can cultivate these qualities interacting with them. So it doesn't just stay on the cushion, but you're bringing it into your everyday life.
mm,
And maybe for you, it's you have a lot of opportunities to practice. You know, if you're not
mm.
in a monastery, then you're interacting with all kinds of different people and, grumpy people and happy people. And you can just wish them well and wish for them to be happy. Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful.
So in other words, every interaction is a opportunity for practice. Right.
Exactly.
It
And then you
doesn't
can watch it
necessarily.
cultivate and grow more and more. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the sitting on the cushion is the beginning, is to start the engine, but the
Hmm.
real the real revving, moving is day to day, like moment to moment, every
Yeah.
interaction and so on.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's like you practice soccer and then you
mhm,
have the actual game, right?
right.
So I'll practice being kind to my enemy. I'll
Hmm.
practice again and again, day after day after day. I'll
Hmm.
visualize in my mind, seeing them, they're coming towards me, they're angry, and I just visualize being kind and loving and compassionate to them. And I
Oh,
practice
you
that
do
day
that.
after day after day. And then when I actually see them in person live, then it's much easier for that just to arise naturally because I've visualized it hundreds of times.
Oh, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
that sounds like yeah, that's a practice I never heard of. I mean, it sounds, I mean, like visualizing, like
Hmm.
interacting with the difficult person and then visualizing that you are the better person. Like I'm embodying the Bodhisattva, right? And then
Yeah.
if you imagine that enough, the mind gets used to it. And then
Yeah.
when it actually happens in the real situation, the mind just activates, and you suddenly you're
Yeah. Doesn't neuroscience say that like the brain can't tell the difference between something that's real and something that
so
you've been practicing, right?
that's right. You can't tell
Yeah.
between what's real and what's imagined.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we have to be
yeah.
very careful what we imagine. Hopefully we're imagining good things and not harmful things. If you imagine beating up that person, then you might actually do it in real life. But yeah, you cultivate these good qualities, imagining just emanating love, imagine love just coming
Mm,
out, exuding from
mm,
you. And
mm,
then you might be surprised. It will
yeah,
just come up spontaneously when you least expect it because you've been
mm,
practicing so hard for so long. I'm
right.
really shocked when I get in different difficult situations. And a year ago, it used to drive me crazy. And because I've been practicing day after day after day under Venerable Chodron, then wow, it's incredible. I'm shocked. I did not get angry. It's amazing. So give it a
That's
try and
awesome.
see. And as you practice, you'll see how it works. And then
Mm,
maybe you want to do it more and more.
mm. Yeah. The reason I ask you things are slightly personal is because I think I see that. I think everybody on this show can see that the way you're carrying yourself, your presence is there's a certain calming uh, quality about you, and how you
Okay.
present yourself. It's very attractive, and that's
Okay.
why, yeah. And I hope that I guess that gives me the last question, Venerable, which is you taught us so many things today. If there's one thing you want us to remember, what would be the one thing?
Oh gosh. Yeah, just keep practicing day after day. Keep cultivating these good qualities. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, when you see the outcome and how it has such an incredible positive effect on your life,
Mm-hmm.
then it really takes off like rocket fuel. And you just want to do it more and more and more. So
Mm,
yeah, stick with
yeah.
it. It really
Mm,
works.
thank you.
I'm like a poster boy. This actually works. 10 years ago, you wouldn't have recognized me.
Yeah, I believe that. Oh, by the way, the Dalai Lama was asked a similar question. Somebody asked the Dalai Lama, Your Holiness, what is the best Buddhist practice? Or what's the best meditation practice? And
Mhm.
Dalai Lama says, the best meditation practice is whatever you're actually doing.
Okay.
Yeah, so so actually do it. Then that is the best practice.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good, good.
yeah.
And you've got your
Mm.
Dalai Lama mug, right?
I do.
Yeah. You don't have your
Yes.
huge one. It's a tiny
I,
one.
I'm sorry because I'm in a different house right now. So
That's okay.
so I only have a small cup.
Yeah, so tiny.
That's why I'm dehydrated.
Yeah, I'm sorry. After this, you can load up.
Yes.
Yeah, we feel
Okay.
your suffering and we can show compassion for your incredible suffering of having a small cup.
Oh, that's like, oh.
Oh.
With that, Venerable, can you lead us on a closing dedication and bless all of us?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So the dedication of merit is in the chat box. Imagine all the incredible positive potential we've created in this hour we had together. Visualize it as a ball of light at your heart with this desire to share it with the entire universe. Imagine this light just spreading out to every sentient being. And we can dedicate. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore.
Sadhu,
Thank you,
sadhu,
man.
sadhu. Thank you,
Thanks for
my
having
friends.
me.
Let's all bow to our teacher. Thank you, Venerable
Thanks,
friend.
man.
Thank you. So, friends, this recording will be uploaded onto the Buddhism.net YouTube channel. So subscribe and share with all your friends. And if you're inspired to practice dharana or generosity towards Venerable Gyatso, please donate directly to the Sarvasti Abbey. And we'll be sharing the link by chat and by email. So next week, we conclude our series on love with Venerable Choni, who has been with the Abbey since the beginning. So yes, we are very lucky to have somebody of her seniority and authority. And even with her authority, she's really, really nice. So don't miss it. Come by next week and we'll see you all. Thank you, friends.